white women want to be seen as like equal to men. We just want to be seen equal, period.
In this episode of NPR's Honest Conversations, with me as your host, Sydney Bernard, we are going to tackle feminism, its racist history, and intersectionality. I've asked some of my closest friends what feminism means to them.
To say feminism means a lot to me would be an understatement.
Feminism is everything for me in my eyes as a woman.
Feminism is about the equality of all people across any sexuality, any gender identity, any race, any creed, and it's really about creating a world that is just for all.
To me, feminism goes beyond believing that both men and women should be equal in social, economic, and political spheres. I agree with Bell Hooks and her famous quote, that feminism is also the conscious action of ending sexism, sexist exploitation, and oppression against women in a patriarchal society.
I love women and how much we have accomplished so far, but as a feminist, I do believe that we have so much more to do. I do not think that we should have to fight for equal pay, but since we do, I will do what it takes.
Not only does feminism empower me to be successful and strive for greatness in the face of adversity, but it inspires me to ask questions. It inspires me to ask why my male colleagues try to dismiss my work, or why I'm the only woman working in the IT department, or why if I raise my voice I'm seen as rude or bossy and not as if I'm taking charge or being assertive. Feminism has shaped who I am and who I want to be when I'm older.
Now, clearly, the definition of feminism means something different to each feminist, and it's broadly changed over the years. Feminism has always been the fight for equality and rights for women, but it's important to note that it was not for all women. The fight for feminism used to be about if you were suffragettes and their fight for the emancipation of white women. Feminism more clearly diverged during this battle over the 19th Amendment. During this image-based fear for the movement, suffragettes like Alice Paul wanted Southern support for the 19th Amendment, so she would orchestrate professional photographers to specifically not include any black female protesters in the pictures of the movement. After the passage of the 19th Amendment, Black, Chinese, Japanese, Native American, and Puerto Rican women still could not vote. Black women were excluded in the southern states because of literacy tests, poll taxes, and other discriminatory laws in place. These systems were set up to continue to marginalize and disenfranchise minority groups. All of these women kept fighting to vote. Mary Church Terrell encouraged suffrage organizations to challenge the poll taxes and racist Southern laws that blocked black voters from voting. The suffrage organizations declined and offered no help because their mission was gender equality, not civil rights. White feminism neglects intersectionality, as it fails to consider the discrimination faced by non-white women. Intersectionality was first coined by race theorist Kimberly Crenshaw to describe how race, class, gender, and other individual characteristics all intersect with one another and tend to overlap. Individuals have overlapping, marginalized social identities that impact the way they are treated. Black women are not just black and a female. They are both and have to deal with double the amount of marginalized experiences as a black man or a white woman because of their overlapping identities. Black women have to fight both racism and sexism, and they cannot be separated. White feminism is exclusive feminism, as it assumes that feminism and equality for women is just limited to gender issues, whereas intersectional feminism is inclusive feminism because it is about sharing and openly listening to the experiences of other women with other marginalized identities and taking on those issues that other marginalized women have as women's issues. So a true feminist would support Black Lives Matter. They would stand up against issues that are considered Black female issues, because Black females are still females and should not be treated separately and left alone to fight these battles. In my opinion, I believe feminism should be about true equality for all, and that means standing in solidarity with fellow women that have it harder than white women do. Before women of color can secure access to abortion, we need to focus on them being able to get jobs and houses and bare minimum basic human needs. And that's true feminism to me. That's what it means to me. Next, I decided it would be best to have an open conversation with two of my closest friends from home on what feminism means to them as women of color.
Hello, I'm Nicia. I attend school at WKU and I'm a poli-sci major.
I'm Savannah and I go to WKU as well, and I'm a fashion merchandising major.
What are your identities? I'm a white woman.
White, Black, woman, straight.
I would say Black woman, straight.
How has identifying yourself as a person of color and a woman changed or impacted your experience as a woman?
Just double the pressure, because you're literally like a double minority. Not only do I have to fight to be seen as equal as a woman, obviously, like as a Black woman, I have to fight to be seen as equal, period. Double the pressure, double the responsibility. Like, it's just a lot to handle all at once.
Compared to other women, especially white women, I feel like we're shown less empathy and respect and support just in general. People will call like women emotional, but if a woman of color shows that, then it's an issue. If there's anger, it's like an outburst and like almost scary rather than just like she's had it. And I feel like when white women, I guess, go through emotions, it's like a lot more acceptable.
Black women have a lot to be angry about. So like, that's just, it's not fair to be called an angry Black woman. Like, I hate that stigma. Like, I'm allowed to be angry. I'm a human. I have like emotions as well. Black women aren't just like allowed to just process things like normally, and it's kind of just like annoying.
Do you all identify as feminists? Why or why not?
I think I do, because I feel like that sounds stupid, but I think I do because I believe that like all sexes, women or not, whether it be like socially, politically, economically, should be equal.
I don't know, like, I don't really label myself, but like I agree with everything that feminists like, you know, do and say.
Yes.
But like, since like there's so many different branches of feminism, like I don't know where I'd fit under. Like, I don't wake up every morning and just call myself a feminist.
I was about to say,
yeah,
it depends. There's like a degree. I'm not gonna like, if we're being honest, I'm probably not gonna go to like a women's march. But do I think women should be equal? Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
But am I gonna, like Anicia said, am I gonna wake up every day being like, I'm the biggest feminist in the world?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I mean, society and I look at myself as Black first, so I'm more engulfed into like Black issues than I am women issues, because like I feel like you have to see me as a human and then like
equality,
the other aspects. Like,
yeah.
I've never felt like I was a woman, like unless I had to put on a dress that, you know, accentuated my curves, or, you know, like something that showed my cleavage. Like, do I have to prove to y'all that I'm like a woman or something? Like, it's baffling to me. Like, and I feel like that's something like I want recognized.
I feel like most of the time, most of the issues that feminists like fight for and all that stuff, I just feel like most of the issues that like feminists fight for are white women related issues rather than like all women related issues. It doesn't feel like it's really about me, and that sounds kind of selfish, but it's like, if you're saying feminism but I can't really relate to it nearly as much, then no, that doesn't make me want to go do any and everything that I can. I don't know, that sounds, I don't know.
That doesn't sound bad at all. That makes like total sense.
and Black women had to branch off and start their own feminist groups. Like white women and Black women can't relate to each other. Have in common is that we're women. But other than that, stuff that we face, I feel like it's deeper than everything else that y'all are fighting for.
You ever not considered yourself a feminist because you felt excluded from it?
I would say so, yeah. Some of the issues Black women are concerned about. Regular feminism doesn't touch bases on that. I guess I do feel kind of excluded. White women want to be seen as equal to men. We just want to be seen equal, period.
Women are fighting for increased access, abortion clinics and stuff like that, but it's that's not Black women's issue because there's so much more that needs to happen before that becomes your main concern.
Black women, but also just Black history in general, it was not taught. We learned about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and it was over with. All the white man's point of view throughout the entirety of history. No women stuff, no Black stuff, no.
The gag is, I feel like Black women, they're the reason for a lot of things. They're the reason for gay rights. They're BLM. There's two women that are the founders of BLM. No one ever talks about that.
A lot of people could have benefited from learning about Black issues and Black people, and outside of Black issues and Black people, just outside of white point of views and white ideas and white people and white history.
Do you think your all's experience as women of color is often overlooked in conversations of racism and sexism like #MeToo and Black Lives Matter?
We get overlooked in BLM because we always bring up the fact that Black men are getting killed, but where are the hundreds of Black women that are killed?
Yes.
And the one time that we do bring up the Black women, we post a hashtag, say her name, and that hashtag was taken as well. It's almost like we can't have any kind of recognition. We can't be credited for anything. I don't know. It's just unsettling,
There is no talk about Black women being affected by the issues that Black Lives Matter is fighting against. I don't know. The only one that I could really think of is Breonna Taylor and maybe one other woman, Sandra. But I wouldn't even know her. I could not tell you her name.
There was Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, and then that little girl that was sleeping that they came in and brought her house. That's 3 out of everyone else that we know. Ahmaud Arbery, we know Trayvon, we know George Floyd.
What sucks is that it's not even just white people not acknowledging it. It's the Black men who are involved in BLM as well, which really sucks because does BLM just mean men? I feel like there's plenty of Black men that I know that I have not heard say one thing about Black women and don't really respect Black women in general.
I was just going to say that.
Black men have so much disrespect for Black women, and it sucks.
And then we're supposed to go out there and march for them.
Yeah, and if you don't show up or if you don't believe
then we don't hold them down.
But... Yeah. Okay. Then it's really? But you're Black. Okay, well, you're a Black man, and you have a Black mother, you have a Black sister, you have Black cousins, Black... you're being disrespectful by not saying anything or even acknowledging, other than Breonna Taylor, really acknowledging women who have gone through the same thing that you're apparently fighting for.
Mm-hmm. I feel I wouldn't be taken seriously if I reported a rape case or something.
I feel the Me Too movement is good, but in regards to Black women, I've never ever seen, or maybe I have seen a few, but none that I remember. I've never seen a Black woman that's involved in it or speaks about it, or
why would they feel comfortable?
Yeah, no, I totally don't blame them at all, but I've never seen it, and that really sucks because it happens to a lot of Black women. I don't know if I would go and tell someone or report it. I said I would go tell certain friends possibly if that happened to me, but I wouldn't feel okay opening a case and all that, because you already see how much trouble like white women can have, actually opening a case and like doing something about it. So like I can't even imagine a black woman or a person of color trying to do that.
Anita Hill, she was like, it was like the pre Brett Kavanaugh, and Clarence Thomas was up for the Supreme Court. Anita Hill was like under him, like professionally. But anyway, she was subordinate to him and he sexually assaulted her. And so he was like a nomination for Supreme Court. And spoiler alert, ends up getting on Supreme Court without an issue. Speaks up, and she was not taken seriously at all because she was a black woman. And he was a black man, and he actually we talked about this in class, he used his blackness as a defense. And Anita Hill acted completely professional. She did not show any emotion. And like, because obviously like she had to be taken seriously, so she couldn't be emotional at all as a woman, and as a black woman especially. But he was screaming, he was angry, he was not afraid of showing any of his emotions,
of course,
and saying that she was attacking him because he's a black man, even though she was a black woman.
What sucks is like that he is a black man, like black men not having respect for black women. I think that really sucks, that like there's things that black men do that make it even harder. Even though they know black women and they love black women, they are supposed to respect black women, but they don't.
Got to be strong because no one can see an angry black woman.
Yes,
like she wouldn't be taken seriously. It was black men, white women, and white men that were allowed to vote, and black women were literally being harassed into not voting. Like, that's just so sad. Like, everyone gets to eat before we do.
It's so selfish too of each group, which is where I feel like black women got neglected, is because everyone, like, I don't know, every other identity besides women of color gets fit in some sort of box. Color and like LGBTQ, like all these able-bodied versus not, like there are all these other things, but like people that fit into multiple boxes weren't included, like just completely excluded because they couldn't figure out where to put you. What can white women and black and white men do to just kind of be more inclusive and more receptive to black women?
Discussion, as simple as it sounds, like at least I feel like here in America, we're not good at discussing amongst like other groups of people and like learning about others. And I feel like that could go a really, really long way, just learning to understand others and what struggles, really mean. Like people who don't understand BLM, like maybe sit down and have a conversation with a black person and talk about, the issues that they've been through. And same with, if there's issues that people may not understand about white people, then sit down and discuss. And I feel like that could really go a long way, whether it be, black female issues or, white female issues, whatever. I feel like just talking could really help.
White men and white women should recognize that their voice could be like detrimental, just like in general, like, I don't know, what they say could either like be the start of like moving towards a different direction, or it could just set us back, because like, people only ever listen to like white voices in America.
Don't be like a white savior. That can do way more damage than a lot of people think, especially with black women's issues. Like, I don't want to say don't act like you don't understand, but don't try to make yourself too much of a part of it.
Like don't make yourself the spotlight. Like
how we've been talking. Like Sydney, you've put your input in, but like you've let us talk, and like you haven't been like, oh well, yeah, girls, like I've known you guys forever, and I know every Black issue, and I'm like, I'm like basically
And
out. You know what I mean?
Because you're like, okay, this is not about me. Don't ever try to make like a person of color belittle them, and like I just don't want white people thinking that they know more about race,
Yes,
and like what a Black person goes through than the actual Black person, because that's one thing that upsets me. I want people to start acknowledging their like preconceived notions of Black people. Like, I feel like one of the issues like with police brutality, like if white police officers were just like, yeah, I mean, I'm afraid of like Black people because I feel like they're thuggish because of what society, has deemed them. You know what I'm saying? Like if we were to just get that out of white people, then we'd be like, okay, let's break it down. Like, not all Black people are thuggish, and like you shouldn't be afraid of every Black person you see. And then like they could like, move that into their training and be like, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
racism isn't like literally a thing because it's a fear of the unknown to people, because they're like, oh, I don't relate to that, that's not my culture, okay, I'm scared of it. Like, and literally conversations help bridge that gap. I feel like helps welcome difference rather than be afraid of it. Like if you're an intersectional feminist, that means you're not afraid to be like, okay, this isn't my time to speak, this isn't my time to put like my personal opinion on this Instagram post I'm sharing. This is my time to amplify like Black and marginalized voices, because like this isn't like something I have experience talking on. Like even if you're a race and critical theorist, like there's always something you can do to learn more.
There's just some ways you should go about things, and other times you should just relax.
Yeah, sit back and listen.
Overdo it.
That's not hard. Not hard to listen. How do you all feel like feminism could be more inclusive?
Well, for starters, not having Black women marching the back. I'm just
well, including Black women issue, like people who are, feminists who are like, I guess, leading these could maybe educate themselves prior to and learn a little more about what issues Black women face, and include that in their march or in their, whatever I don't know what
they're
do.
protesting, or like
what they're fighting against. Maybe include that, like keep fighting for what you're fighting for, because I'm sure it's good cause, but maybe include Black women and just women of color in general, what they're going through. Like,
I mean, do you all have any other advice, non-women of color and like men in general?
Have more empathy and be more supportive, and also like let Black women and mixed women feel more comfortable around you to be vulnerable, and like whether it be like talking about things or showing emotion, like I don't know, make them feel comfortable and understand their problems and their issues.
We need to start talking about things that are like, more serious. Not just like enough like sugarcoating. Like I want to hear the raw truth in things, and like I just want people to start admitting like their faults. Like, and I don't know, I just want everyone to listen to each other. Like I feel like that's like the only way we can get things done, in my opinion.
Create a way to have a better understanding for Black women.
Yeah. Thank you all for sharing your perspectives. I know I definitely learned a lot just about what feminism means to you all. And yeah, thank you for just being a part of this.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Queen.
Bye.